This is Karen Ranzi of superhealthychildren.com. A question that I get frequently is on B12 and where do I get B12, or I'm deficient in B12, what do I do? What's the best way to get B12 quickly? So just understand that across the board, from meat eaters to vegans, we are seeing B12 deficiency. And the animals do not contain B12 in their flesh. They're getting B12 from the foods that they eat, from the plants in the ground. And if those plants do not have the bacteria that leads to B12 digestion, then meat eaters won't be getting B12 either. And so how do you get B12? Well, there is B12 in certain foods, but there's not enough for you to get enough B12, and that's why very often we need to supplement. A number of years ago, I had a lot of blood work done and a urine test specifically for B12. My blood work was all great, but the B12 was low. And I did choose to supplement because B12, you don't want to fool around with B12 because there are neurological problems that can result, and they can be irreversible. So you want to be sure that you get enough B12 that, and most often it would have to be from supplementing because we can't get enough in the diet. So, and there are foods that people think have B12, which are not actual B12 sources. They're called analogs. They look like B12 in the blood, but they're not really B12 sources. Tempeh is often thought to have B12, or some of the seaweeds like dulse. But those are actually not giving us B12. Those look like B12. And so what kind of testing will show if you are deficient in B12? Many doctors give the blood test to check on B12, but it's not very accurate. So I recommend urinary testing. And so you would give a urine sample, and the test would be the UMMA, the urine methylmalonic acid test. All right, so that's the best test to really check for a high homocysteine level. And high homocysteine would mean that your B12 is low. And so that test is much more accurate. And so what I did when I had a low B12 was that I took a sublingual B12 supplement, which you just suck for a couple of minutes and it digests. And then I went later for testing and my B12 was normalized. Now I think that there's certain times of the year, and I go to a local farmer and I have my own plants in the back of my home in the warmer season, where I'm eating directly from the garden or from the local farmer, and I feel like I am getting the B12 that I need. And I have tested at 2 different times of the year, and without supplementation during the warmer weather, it seems like my B12 is fine. I know that in the winter weather, and I live in a northeast region, I'm not getting those local plants, and so I'm getting imported plants, and I'm not getting the B12 that I need. And so I definitely recommend getting tested, and also being low in the winter, I supplement in the winter. So I don't supplement as much in the warmer weather because I am getting my B12 needs met through good local organic farming. And so that's really what I recommend for your B12, to make sure that you're getting it. And especially as a vegan, you want to make sure that your B12 levels are normal.